So if you've been using castor oil on your skin, good, you're onto something real. But if you've been using it alone, you're only getting about half of what it can actually do for you. And that half you're missing, that's the collagen half. The part that actually changes the depth of lines, not just the surface of them. We're going to get into exactly why that is, and what one oil changes everything when you add it to the mix. Your skin has layers, and the layer that matters most for wrinkles, the one where collagen is actually made, is called the dermis. It sits below the surface, below the part you can see and touch. Collagen isn't produced at the surface, it's produced deep down by cells called fibroblasts. This is where castor oil runs into a wall. Castor oil is what's called an occlusive. It forms a physical barrier on top of the skin, a seal, and that seal is genuinely useful. It locks moisture in, it protects the surface, it calms inflammation. Those are real benefits, but an occlusive sits on the skin, it doesn't travel through it. The reason is molecular weight. Castor oil's primary compound, ricinoleic acid, has a molecular structure too large and too heavy to penetrate past the outer skin layer in any meaningful way. It's doing its job beautifully at the surface. It just can't get to the fibroblasts. It can't get to where collagen is actually built. So what does that mean for you? It means that if collagen production is your goal, and at 60, 65, 70, it absolutely should be because your skin is producing significantly less of it than it was even 10 years ago. Castor oil alone isn't reaching the right address. When collagen breaks down faster than it's being replaced, the changes are gradual at first. A little more depth to the lines around the mouth. A little less spring when you press your cheek. The skin that used to bounce back takes longer. Then one day you look in the mirror and you don't just see wrinkles, you see a face that looks tired even when you're not. And the frustrating part? You've been doing everything you were told. Moisturizing. Using your oils. You just didn't know that what you were using couldn't reach the layer that actually needed help. That's not a failure on your part. It's a gap in the information most people are given, and that gap is exactly what we're going to close. The oil that fills that gap is rosehip oil. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Rosehip oil? Yeah, I've heard of that. Maybe you've even tried it. But because most people who've used it don't actually know why it works, and the why is the whole thing. Rosehip oil comes from the seeds of wild rose bushes. And what makes it different from castor oil at a fundamental level is its molecular weight. It's significantly lighter, light enough to actually pass through the outer skin layer and reach the dermis, reach the fibroblasts, reach the place we just talked about, the right address. And once it gets there, it brings three things that castor oil simply doesn't have. The first is natural retinoid compounds. Rosehip oil contains trans-retinoic acid precursors, essentially a gentler plant-derived form of vitamin A. Vitamin A activates fibroblasts. Those are the cells that build collagen. So rosehip isn't just moisturizing the dermis. It's actually signaling your skin to produce more of what it's been losing. The second is vitamin C, and not just a trace amount. Rosehip is one of the richest plant sources of vitamin C that exists. Vitamin C is a required cofactor for collagen synthesis. Without it, your body literally cannot complete the process of building new collagen. Your fibroblasts can get the signal, but they can't finish the work. The third is essential fatty acids, linoleic and linolenic acid specifically. These repair the skin barrier from the inside, which means your skin holds on to moisture better, reflects light better, and looks more even in texture. And the research on this landed in a way I didn't expect. There's a 2025 pilot study, published in MDPI Cosmetics, where 27 participants applied rosehip oil topically every day for 5 weeks. Wrinkle depth reduced, firmness improved. But the part that stood out, the older participants responded more strongly than the younger ones. Let me say that again because it matters. The women who were older showed stronger results, not weaker, not comparable, stronger. That's the opposite of what you'd expect if this were just a basic moisturizer doing surface work. One participant's wrinkle score, measured precisely, went from 73.63 to 3460 in 5 weeks. That's not a rounding error. That's the skin doing something it couldn't do without the right input. Castor oil alone was never going to get there. Not because it's bad, it's excellent at what it does. The problem is that what it does is only half of what your skin needs right now. Rosehip handles the other half. Together, they're doing two completely different jobs at two completely different depths. That's what makes the blend worth understanding. The ratio is 2 parts rosehip oil to 1 part castor oil, 2 drops rosehip, 1 drop castor, 4 drops rosehip, 2 drops castor. The rosehip is the workhorse, the one penetrating, signaling, driving collagen production. The castor is doing what it does best, sealing everything in, keeping moisture from escaping, and calming inflammation while the rosehip does its deeper work. Think of it like a delivery system. Rosehip carries the active compounds down. Castor locks the door behind it, and because castor oil isn't occlusive, it's actually most powerful when there's already something worth locking in. Used alone, it's sealing in moisture. Useful. Used with rosehip, it's sealing in active collagen-stimulating compounds that are now working below the surface. That's a fundamentally different outcome. Timing matters too. This blend is a nighttime treatment, not morning. At night, your skin goes into repair mode. Cell turnover increases. Collagen synthesis is more active. Your body is already doing the work. The blend is giving it better tools to do it with. In the morning, you're applying products and then immediately exposing your skin to UV and everything else that degrades what you just put on. You lose most of the benefit before it can finish working. Apply it after cleansing. Warm the blend between your fingers first, just a few seconds. Then press it gently into the skin rather than rubbing. Pressing drives it in. Rubbing just moves it around the surface. Focus on where collagen loss shows up first, around the eyes, the laugh lines, the forehead, the neck. These are the places where the dermis is thinnest and where the rosehip component matters most. There's a 2015 randomized controlled trial, 34 adults aged 35 to 65, 8 weeks, that measured rosehip's effects on exactly these areas. Statistically significant reductions in crow's feet depth, improved skin moisture, measurable improvements in elasticity, and that study was measuring rosehip alone. The castor component adds the moisture-locking and anti-inflammatory layer on top of that, so you're not choosing between surface hydration and deep collagen work. You're getting both at the same time. Every night, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, the women who made this change and the women who didn't are going to look very different. Not because of anything dramatic, because of 1,000 small nights that either added up to something or didn't. The woman who caught this and acted on it is the one who still looks in the mirror and recognizes herself, who still feels like the skin she's in belongs to her. The woman who kept doing what wasn't working is the one who's frustrated, spending more money on products that don't reach the right layer, wondering why nothing responds anymore. I've seen it, and what they almost all say is the same thing. I wish I'd understood this sooner. You understand it now. That's the whole point of this. The information isn't the hard part. The consistent application is. 5 weeks of nightly use. That's what the research showed to produce measurable changes in wrinkle depth. That's not a long time, but it only works if you actually do it. Not all rosehip oil is the same, and this part quietly determines whether any of this actually works. Rosehip oil is fragile. The compounds that make it effective, the vitamin A precursors, the vitamin C, the essential fatty acids, they degrade. Heat degrades them. Light degrades them. Heavy processing degrades them. And a lot of what's sold in drugstores has been through enough of that processing that by the time it reaches your skin, a significant portion of what made it worth buying is already gone. What you're looking for is cold-pressed and unrefined. Cold-pressed means the oil was extracted without heat, which preserves the bioactive compounds. Unrefined means it hasn't been further processed to strip out color or scent. A good rosehip oil should have a slight golden or amber color and a faint, slightly nutty smell. Completely colorless and odorless means it's been refined. The good stuff has been removed. Storage matters too. Keep it in a dark bottle, away from direct light, in a cool place. Rosehip oxidizes faster than most oils, meaning it goes rancid. And an oxidized oil isn't just less effective, it's actively inflammatory. The opposite of what you want. The answer to slow results is often sitting on the bathroom counter in a clear bottle, getting hit with light every morning. The castor side of this blend has its own numbers behind it. A trial of 22 participants applied castor oil cream to the eye area twice daily for 2 months. They measured wrinkle depth precisely, before and after. Mean improvement in wrinkle score, 33%, just from the consistent surface work. Moisture sealed in, inflammation reduced, the outer layer protected night after night. So when you put that together with rosehip's collagen signaling at the dermis, you're not adding 2 benefits, you're multiplying them. The castor creates a protected environment where the rose hip can work without interference. And the rose hip is building something that lasts, not just something that looks good for a day because the skin is temporarily plumped. That's the whole picture. Tonight, if you have both oils, mix them. 2 parts rose hip, 1 part castor. Warm it between your fingers. Press it in. Go to sleep. Do that consistently for 5 weeks and pay attention to what changes. The depth of those lines, the way your skin feels when you press it, the way it looks in morning light before you've put anything else on it. You've been using castor oil because you knew something was there. You were right. You just needed the other half of the equation. If this was useful, subscribe. There's more where this came from.